Those of boldest blood and wildest of heart step forth. Take up arms and try with honor to land a blow against me. Whomsoever nicks me shall lay claim to this, my armor. Its glory and riches shall be thine. Should you land a blow, you must seek me out yonder, 1 year hence, to the Green Chapel, and let me strike you in return. Who is willing to indulge me in this game?
We are about to play The Green Knight, a fantasy role-playing game that is a tie-in between the movie coming out by A24, directed by David Lowery. And I've got a wonderful cast of characters lined up here. If everyone could just go down the line. Let's start with Alana. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, I'm Jessica. I'll be playing Alana the Noble. And I'm with Strange Fate Crafts, and we make gaming accessories.
My name is Eric. I'm with the Finder Film Podcast. We talk about movies and such. And I will be playing Alshay the Hunter.
Hi, my name is Pete. I'm from Middle Class Film Class, a movie podcast, and I will be playing the bard named Armand Asante.
A little on the nose, but my name is Ferdinand. I will be playing Sir Ferdinand, the Violet Knight, and I am a free-range, old-school Dungeons & Dragons player.
Hi, I'm John. I'll be playing Kremlin, the Grey Wanderer, a learned sorcerer. Like my friend Nando, I have been role-playing for many a long time. No current projects, but possibly doing a gaming podcast with our game master here down the line.
And speaking of which, my name is Will Lindis. I will be running the game today. You can catch me each week on the Movie Bears podcast, where we review films, both current and classic. All right. I think it's time to dive in to some tabletop role-playing, everyone. Our adventure will now begin. You find yourselves at a tavern where many roads meet. Almost 1 year ago to the day, each of you was visited by the mysterious Green Knight. Although you were miles apart, it seems that these visits occurred simultaneously. You all harmed the Green Knight in some way, with the Knight's promise that he would return the damage done to him 1 year hence. Now, shortly before that year is up, you meet at the beginning of your journey. Over the course of the night, you exchange stories. You agree to go on this quest to the Green Chapel together. Some party members may be a bit more begrudgingly than the others. The night passes with anxious revelry. Then, in the stark morning light, you get the first clear look at the other members of your party. You will face your destinies together. I'd like to take a moment and have each character do a quick introduction of themselves. This is a spot for us to get to paint the mental picture of who we see in our adventuring party. As we go around the table, I'd like to hear everyone give a brief description of their character, as well as maybe one interesting fact that we may have learned about that character from the previous night's revelry, be it something they shared or maybe something we observed from them during the revelry. We'll go in the same order. Alana, if you'd like to go first.
So she's not quite tall, red hair. She's of noble birth, and she tends to talk down to a lot of people, but when things get interesting, she gets really involved. The one thing that the revelries would have revealed about her is that she's got friends all over in high and low places.
All right. Next up, I want to hear about Alshay.
Alshay likes smoked cheese, and playing music that he calls Hall & Oates. I know with us here sounds like a bit of an anachronism, but he didn't know that he was thousands of years ahead of his time. I spend a lot of time by myself hunting. I've recently started a family, and my wife became very sick, and I'm left to tend to her and our child, but I was able to sneak out tonight and get some drinks, so I'm gonna cut loose a little bit.
I love it. Well, let's hear about Armand.
So Armand is a carefree bard who left home at the ripe old age of 14, drawn by the lure of the gypsy caravan, and living a life of leisure and carefree fun. But left when he realized that the gypsies held different virtues than he did, and he basically became a roaming bard, living his own life.
Well, next up we've got Sir Ferdinand.
Yes, Sir Ferdinand, the Violet Knight. In the morning, he would still be wearing his armor that he was wearing the night before. It's a full set of armor, and depicted on it is a purple flower on his chest and shield. A long sword is also scabbarded at his side. In the festivities and in his drink, Sir Ferdinand is known to be a generous if not proud man. Sir Ferdinand, although not the strongest, he is swift with a sword, and it's landed him in a bit of trouble.
Very good. And then that leaves us with Kremlin the Grey Wanderer.
Kremlin is an aged man in well-traveled robes. His face is weathered from the wind. He has piercing eyes that linger on those that interest him. And yes, it's just as creepy as it sounds. He has a beard and hair, wreathing those features like a fog-filled morn. He waves aside any offer of wine, instead probably sharing tea with Armand.
Oh, very good. Perfect. All right. After taking stock of your allies, you make your preparations and you begin on your trek. You know roughly where it is that you're heading. You just have to get there. Only a few hours into your journey, the familiarity of the tavern, let alone your homes, has faded long into the distance. The woods on this path are like nothing you've seen before. Mysteriously gnarled branches, dark foreign shadows, and a cold wind surround you. You're focusing so much on just the eeriness that you almost don't notice the overturned cart right in front of you. The cart looks to have been the subject of an ambush. Arrows stick out of the side of the cart. Peasant bodies litter the road. The scene is quiet. Maybe too quiet. What will you do? And this is where we do our very first authority check. This is how we do our initiative. So this is roll a d20, and you will add your, if you are trained in courage, you get to add a +2, and if you're trained in authority, you get to add an additional +2. Once you have those numbers, tell me what they are.
I have an 8.
Yeah, I rolled a 4, so I also get an 8.
Okay.
Woo! Our first 20?
Starting off hot.
Yeah.
Don't worry, it'll be all ones from here on out.
Right.
I rolled a 14, no modifiers.
Okay.
15.
15. Okay. So let me just write those down so that I remember them. And since we have a tie on the 8 initiative modifier, it sounds like you had the higher skills on that, Ferdinand. So I'll have you going before Armand on that tie. So here we go. First of all, we're at the beginning of an encounter, and the beginning of an encounter, and the same with every beginning of each full turn in the rotation, it represents a waylay from your journey to meet the Green Knight. So everyone, please take 1 dishonor. And when I say that, I mean currently your score should be set to 10 at the beginning of the adventure. Everyone gets bumped up to 11 now.
I'm going to use a d20 to mark that.
That's actually really good. All right. So since we're at the on everybody's turn, you get to make one action, which usually represents like a thing that you're doing, a skill check, something along those lines. Since you're at the very, very top, Alshea, please tell me what action you would like to take.
I'm going to just kind of look around the area, see if there's any danger afoot.
Ah, okay.
Use my huntery skills to typically seeing arrows sticking in the side of an overturned cart leads me to believe something bad happened. Let's assess the situation.
Look for clues, gang.
Very good. I think this is going to be a vigilance check to sort of study the surroundings. So give me a if you're doing that, I'm gauging that that's an honorable action, so you get to roll that as honorable. So roll d20. You have the option to add, of course, if you're trained in vigilance, or if you have an ability score of, if you have cunning as one of your abilities.
I do.
Okay. So, and you want to get equal to or higher than that 11 score.
Okay. So it's whatever I roll plus 2 for the cunning?
Yes.
Okay. 10 plus 2 is 12, which is higher than 11.
Okay, perfect. All right. Drawing to a stop, the group of you takes in the scene in front of you, and Alshea, familiar with the what this type of thing might be, stops the group and scans the area. You actually, in doing this, you spot a rustling in the bushes and start to notice several figures who are actually hiding in the forest. By the look of the ones that are a little bit closer to you, they seem to be emaciated and in pretty rough shape. Now, they haven't noticed you yet, and no weapons are drawn.
They haven't noticed us?
Yeah. It doesn't look from what you see here that they've noticed you. It looks as though they are they're kind of looking in at the scene, emaciated, and
they look like the zombies from I Am Legend.
Maybe not quite like the zombies from I Am Legend, but maybe pretty close.
Do they look dangerous? Like, do they look like they could have flipped over a cart? I'm guessing emaciated doesn't really.
I will say that part is hard to tell. When I say emaciated, I don't want you to think that they're just like fully skin and bones, but I also don't think of them as too swarthy either.
Gotcha.
They're a little gaunt. They're like Doug Jones.
All right.
That brings us to the next person's turn, and that is going to be Alana. What are you going to do?
All right. Well, I want to look to see like how long they've been dead, and then maybe where the arrows came from.
Okay. Yes. So you go forth to so you're going to go kind of like check out the scene in more detail. I think that there are a couple of different things that we can do here, but the one that I feel like is most appropriate here is going to be give me a reason check. I think that what you're doing, sort of like you're kind of putting the clues together.
Right. Rolled a 16, I get a +2, so that's 18.
Okay, wonderful. So that's definitely a success. Yes. So taking all of this together, this definitely looks to be one. This is very obviously an ambush. If there was any like question about that before, these arrows were definitely very purposefully fired from the sides. You see all of the arrows seem to be very directional in that it doesn't seem to be pelting kind of like all over. It seems to be kind of on either sides of the cart as they're kind of like punctured in. And it looks as though the peasants themselves, the dead peasants, do not have any weapons of their own or anything along those lines. You just see, they look as though they're they were just shot and murdered.
Can I tell how long ago?
Yes. This looks very fresh.
Okay.
This was probably done, you would imagine that this was done within this day.
Well, I'll just say quietly that the ambush looks new. We should stay, fresh and look and pay attention.
And shortly after you do that, kind of looking over this wreckage, the two of you sort of spotting, I would say that definitely Alshea, you would notice this sort of first, the other sort of like in turn right after, because those figures that were sort of hiding in the forest on either side, they actually stand and emerge into the clearing. And a voice yells out from one of them as they do it, and he says, "Halt!" He's a tall, cloaked figure who's exiting the brush. "You wandered through the wrong woods, heavy-toed roads and the like." The man, he eyes your weapons and your armor. "I'll tell you what, though. If you can help us with a little task, we'll not only let you pass through for free, but also toss in a little something special."
He looks the man over, and he's going to try to divine his intent, studying him carefully as he answers his question. "And what is it that you would have of us?"
So first of all, give me a intuition skill. Intuition, I think, is going to be your check there.
And let's see.
So intuition, it is if you're trained in intellect. No, I'm sorry, not intellect. Cunning. If your ability score is cunning, then you get a +2. If you have intuition, you get an additional +2.
All right. That will be a total of 15.
Okay. That is a success. You all are doing very well on these honorable skill checks so far. Cool. The man continues as you answer that. He says, "Well, as you can see, there's some people who don't agree with these tolls." He gestures to the destroyed cart. "But law is what we say it is. Some people got no respect, no real honor to them to uphold the law, In fact, we were just tracking down one of the folks that was traveling with these lawbreakers. When you come by, if you can find him and bring him back to us, we'll give you this." "Jenkins, get it for me." And one of the other guys comes over lugging an engraved mace. And he hands it over to the lead guy, who grasps it, and it's sort of like heavy in his hand. It actually like looks to have some real heft to it. But he holds it back up, kind of shows it off. You get to see kind of like the craftsmanship on it, the engraving on it. "It ran off that way." He tries to gesture with the mace itself to the woods, but it seems a bit heavy, so he just ends up changing plans and cocking his head instead. "If you'll go get him, mace is yours. Might want to hustle, though. He ran off kind of quick." Kremlin, you're definitely getting the vibe that this guy is lying. This guy is there's some sort of deception that is happening here. And I think, Alana, you're able to pick up on part of why that is too. They're talking about these peasants being lawbreakers and, no respect for the law and all of that. But when you were looking things over, you don't see any weapons drawn on the peasants. You just see a bunch of dead people with arrows sticking out of them, essentially. Actually, before we say what the action is, I will let you all take a moment kind of to do some cross role play if there's anything you all want to discuss about this, because
So are we gonna help this douchebag? Is that the plan?
This is olden times. It's le douchebag.
the douche Boda.
So Yeah, we're pretty
Like
much in agreement that we don't agree or that we don't trust the thing this guy says.
Sure.
But
Or
there's,
should you?
but there's
He's clearly lying.
Yeah, there's. Do you think he's lying about a guy out there, or is he just trying to get us away from here?
Oh no, I think there's probably someone out there, but I
Mhm.
don't think he was the attacker.
Yeah.
I think he was a survivor of the attack.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm getting at. Should we find the person? And if we should do that, shall we leave these people alone, or shall we deal with these people, then go find the person that ran off? I'm not really digging this situation.
No, my gut instinct would be to make basically double cross these crooks that we just met, accept the challenge to go find this gentleman, but not with the intent to kill him. We'll let the bandits know that that's the intent, but we won't. If we do find him, we won't kill him. That would be my suggestion to the group.
I believe we should mete out justice. He says, men were unarmed.
There will undoubtedly be more travelers along these roads. If there's to be any stop to this bloodshed, it's us that we'll need to put a stop to it. And perhaps we can help whatever poor fellow ran off into the woods as well.
So Sir Ferdinand actually takes a step forward in front of everybody else, and he kind of brings his shield up, in a more comfortable position, and he draws his sword, and he says, your story stinks. Lay down your weapons.
Here's where I have to think about whether intimidation is going to be an honorable or a dishonorable act.
Well, in this context,
yeah, it seems to be the honorable, unless we turned out to be the baddies the whole time.
Yeah, I'm trying to, I guess, avoid a fight.
Yeah.
Instead of.
I will let. I'm gonna let that one be. I'm gonna let that one be honorable. I think intimidation is one of those ones that's generally coded as dishonorable, but I think that given the exact motive, I think that this falls under honorable. So,
okay,
yeah,
excellent. I rolled an 11 total.
Okay, you had to get an 11 or higher, so you succeed. All right. Your sword drawn, your allies behind you. The front guy says, "Oh, hold up here." He says, "Tell you what, let's just do this the easy way, yeah." He takes and he has like a sort of like a large, actually more like a short sword, at his side, and he draws it, but like up. Like drops it down to the dirt. The other men who are behind you, and you count that there are a total of honestly, there's a total of 5 of them. So the other 4 you see do the same. You see, club go down into the ground. One of them like looks to the side, goes, drops 2 daggers. Spear goes down, and another sword. They do that, and he says, "We didn't want any trouble." He says, "We was just trying to collect the toll." He says, "Good honorable work." He says, "But no trouble, no trouble." As they look you over to sort of figure out what you're going to do with them, we then shift over to the next person in the initiative order, which is Armand.
Armand is very appreciative of fine craftsmanship, and he wants that mace. So can I collect the mace?
Okay, yeah, absolutely. That part's pretty easy. You can just pick up the mace.
I wasn't sure if there was a decision on there or not.
Yeah,
it's cursed. Roll a nat 20.
That part is pretty easy, and since it's not a skill check, it doesn't take your action. I will tell you what the engraved mace does. Whoever it is that ends up keeping it, if it be you, whoever, it will grant you a +2 on all melee combat rolls used with it.
All right, cool. And it's shiny, right?
It is very shiny, yeah.
All right.
Super shiny.
So then I guess at this point I let me go to character. Wow, that was crazy, right? You think those guys have money in their pockets? And then I go to investigate, not necessarily steal money from them, but look in their pockets.
Ah. Okay, yeah. I think that this is going to be give me a secondly vigilance. I think that's going to be vigilance. Yeah, give me vigilance.
Okay, so I have cunning as one of my skills or abilities. And let's see if I do not have vigilance. Okay, so that's +2, right?
Actually, before I have you do this,
yeah,
this is going to be vigilance, but this is going to be dishonorable.
I figured.
Yeah.
Like,
so,
hey, no harm in looking, right?
Yeah. So it's so here's what's going to happen. First of all, you will you want to roll your, I think it's right now 11. You want to roll under that. When you roll your d20, instead of adding the +2, you can subtract the 2.
Okay.
So
I'll basically do my natural roll -2 was going to be my score.
Yes.
Okay.
And you want to get 11 or under.
Oh boy. Or under.
Yes.
I want to do it lower. Okay.
Yeah. The more dishonorable you are, the easier it is to do dishonorable things, because you have the meter goes up this way and then kind of vice versa.
Okay, so 11. Let's see. 13. Nat. So
good.
11.
Perfect. Okay, so that's a success. You will still gain a point of dishonor because you're doing a dishonorable act. So you'll bump yours up to 12. Everyone else is still at 11. It's not shared.
Gotcha.
When you go go to the first guy and go through his pouch, you see, you do see several coins, a few pieces of jewelry, nothing too extravagant. Like, it doesn't look like these is like the crown jewel or anything like that. But you do see, for example, I think you see like some coins. You see a kind of a simple like silver chain, and you do see like a lady's brooch.
Okay. And he's the only one carrying any goods?
When you check the others, I think you see similar, but maybe like a little bit less so, in that it looks as though the one that was speaking had the had more, I guess, on him.
He's the lead guy.
But the others do have like the occasional like kind of like ring or something along those lines. But again, like nothing that feels like it's not like rubies or gemstones or anything like that.
Okay. And can I add on to that action?
In what way? Let me know what you want.
I want to, I believe that this money found in their pockets could go to paying for flowers for the widows of the deceased. And I relieve them of all of their money except for 1 coin.
Okay. Yeah. So you take all of those things, and there's some like mutters and protests from the guys. Is that, are we gonna?
We can just pick flowers.
Yeah. Are we gonna do this?
Oh, by the way, Sir Ferdinand, I really appreciate you doing that, man. This is so much easier when they don't have weapons.
Yeah, he actually isn't. He's like, they're ill-gained goods. This is definitely a sign of their guilt. Like, he doesn't get it. I don't think that we're robbing these guys.
God wills it.
I think one of them, like, it looks like he's just sort of like, should we just fight these guys? And the one up front says, who I think is probably a little bit closer to Ferdinand's sword, since you, I'm guessing, still have it kind of like held out. He looks like just down the length of what probably looks like the longest sword that he's ever seen in his life, longer even more than, by virtue of just how close it is to striking him down. He says, I think we can call this one a loss. We are back around to the top of the next initiative round. So I'm going to ask you all this. More specifically, I'm going to ask Alshea this because you are the authority leader on this. Do you feel as though you have accomplished what you set out to do here, or do you have more actions that you want to take? If you take more actions, everyone will gain a point of dishonor.
Yeah.
But
I don't want to give everyone dishonor, but I think we need to find I think we need to. Does this count towards finding the guy, the runaway guy?
Yeah, if you want to do that, that's still within this encounter. So
okay,
that would be your action. Yeah.
I want to do another action then.
Okay, perfect. So everyone gain a point of dishonor, and tell me which action you'd like to take.
Okay. Before I do, the dead people in the cart, are there any of them women or children?
Yes.
Okay. I'm gonna grab
no children, but women. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it's very clear that they were unarmed and attacked, and not defending themselves or fighting or.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna call the leader over. It's like, can you follow me for a second?
Of course.
All right. I'm going to get to where there's the dead bodies and point to the ground and go. So this looks like a slaughter. And there's a man ran away that you wanted us to hunt down. What's going on? Where is this person, and what did you intend to do with them?
I think that feels like what you're trying to do is I don't feel like you're intimidating him right now. It could be persuasion. Too. So give me persuasion.
This is more like, I know you're lying and I'm dropping all the bullshit. What's going on?
Then maybe intimidation does make the most sense here, because I think I think that is a very direct statement here. So give me that. I'll let it keep within the honorable, kind of off of the logic from before. So give me an honorable intimidation check.
Got 11 plus 2, so that brings me to 13.
Okay. So that does succeed. All right, he says, we're not toll collectors. I think it's time they came clean on that. Which probably sounds a little bit like a no shit statement to everyone that sort of pieced all of this together. But he says it anyways. We was just trying to collect a little bit of coin for ourselves. Just a little. Just something to, He says, look at me, man. He says, they haven't been eating right. He says, certainly not going to be eating well now. He kind of looks at his very empty bag. He says, but yeah, one of the fellas ran away into the woods. He says it was just one of them. So he looks around. He says, you don't have to go after him if you don't want.
All right. So just to respond to him, kill all these people.
Yeah.
And you got swords at your neck.
Yeah.
You're penniless.
Yeah.
To what end?
Hey, to be fair, it's got me fuck all.
Should maybe we have these guys help us look for the guy?
Or have them carry our shit.
There you go.
Alana has an idea.
That's perfect, actually, because we're over to Alana's turn too, so you can set up your idea before our next action happens. So, yeah, what's your idea?
So she knows a lot of people, and so I'll go up to the leader and say, if it is coin you are looking for, there are better ways to achieve this.
Well, we tried our hands at farming. Well, 3 of us did. Land's dead, or at least land's dying. Besides, I could put the work in now, but that won't feed me tonight.
So, go into the town. I have a friend there named Badger.
Hey.
You can't miss him. Big guy. He'll have work for you. Tell him Alana sent you.
Hey, he's not like a constable or a headsman or anything, right? Not that type of work?
No, it's hard labor. You'll be moving merchandise from place to place.
Right. All right. Let's see. I think what we're going to have here, this feels actually like an authority roll. You are using status and connections, I think. Yeah. So give me an authority check.
All right. And that is an 18.
Oh, wonderful.
That's it. That your performance felt like an 18 authority.
They
Do it.
he says, mind if I sidebar? He slowly backs over to where the guys are, and they have a bit of a talking to. One of them says something a little bit loudly and gets immediately cuffed on the back of the head by this one. And after all of that, he comes back over and says, all right, we'll give this a try. He says, we're not afraid of a little bit of hard labor. He says, especially if the pay is right. And he says, given the circumstances, I think that it's probably our best option. They don't. Do you gesture for them to head that way now, or do you want them to stick around a little bit before you do?
Oh no, I'll tell them. Get a move on. Go.
Off you go.
With a hustle in their step, they sort of do that motion where they're sort of like power walking like down the trail. Once they get a little further, kind of looking over their shoulder, all right, and they move a little bit hastily, but they are going the direction of the town. And now it's just you with the cart with the peasants.
Friends, brothers and sisters, who can regale me and my queen with some myth or tale?
O greatest of kings, let one of your knights try to land a blow against me. Indulge me in this game.
I will meet thee.
One year hence.
Kremlin, and ask what action you might take.
Kremlin takes his water skin and he cups his hand and pours some of the water into his hand. He then moves his other hand over the top and gazes into the reflection of the water. And he's going to try to scry the location of this fellow who ran off and find out where he is and what condition he's in.
Just wearing the same style of like peasant garb that you see on the people here in front of you. He looks to be in pretty rough shape in that you see him in a bush. It looks as though he has it doesn't look grievous, but it does look as though that he does have a wound across his arm that he seems to be holding. You also see he looks to be shivering from just the cold, which you all had noticed too. Like just this area feels like the mist and the fog that's sort of like setting on. Like as soon as you get into the tree line, the cold feels very oppressive and hits to the bone. But in addition to seeing that vision, you get a clear spot of where it's at. You could just go to him without any issue because of your vision.
Okay. I see him. There. He's alone, cold and injured.
You traipse through the woods, and it's hard going. Even though you caught it in the vision where he was at, it feels further than it feels. It is further, I guess, than it maybe felt in the vision. Even you all being, I guess, a little bit more hardy sort are a bit winded by the time that you get there. This man seemed to have been running quite a far distance before he found his hiding spot. Sure enough, though, you see from the bushes, very haphazardly hiding. You see him very clearly as you emerge on the scene. The same man, injury on the arm, shivering in the cold. He looks up, eyes wide, as soon as he sees the group of you. Don't bring me back. And it is Ferdinand's turn in the initiative.
Yeah. He sees the man there, and he has a concerned look on his face, and seeing that the man is cold, he pulls off of his purple cloak, and he kind of makes a gesture to the man, kind of to say, he says, "You're cold." He says, "Here, take this."
The others, all of them,
He nods grimly.
They've all been slaughtered.
As they're saying this, Alana will go up to Armand and say, I know you have a flask. Give him the gold and let him take a swig.
These woods are far, long and dark. Says we try not to go through them if we don't have to, but we had to. We were heading to town. We figured we could sell a few things, get enough coin to get us through at least the next few months. I should have made the travel by myself. But they came out, told us that if we didn't pay up, that they'd strike us down. And then, well, we didn't have much. We couldn't afford to give them anything. You see, if we gave them anything, we'd have nothing. And if we had nothing, then all of this would have been for nothing. And so they fired on us. Bows which they kept hidden in the woods. But I got free. One sliced at me, but I'll be fine. But when I ran, I looked back as soon as I could and catch my breath to see who had made it out with me. But it was just me. It was just me in the brambles, and then I was too afraid to go back.
Well, Armand walks up to the lone survivor, puts his hand on his shoulder. Very sorry for your loss. I don't have much for family, and I know how hard it is to let yours go. This won't bring them back, but take the money that they've stolen and all their goods they had. Make sure to collect your belongings on your way back out. I speak for our team when I say we would travel with you for safe passage, but we have other pressing events to attend to.
Indeed we do. You left those children and those women to die. You ran here into this forest. He kind of shakes his head. He says, this is the coward's way. You can keep that cloak, as I've given away all of my worldly goods.
Relax your ire, Armand.
Yeah, he kind of
There's no knight. What a peasant.
Yeah, he just kicks the snow at his feet and turns around.
So as you press on through the woods, you make your way past the wreckage, and you begin to wonder, did you actually make the world a bit of a better place, or did you just displace the violence? You won't know for some time to come, but at least you know that you did what you thought was right. Let's go over our honorable and dishonorable results and see where we land. You found this man, and you gave him supplies and protection. That gives you -1 dishonor, and that's for everyone. You've eliminated the bandits as a threat. That gives you -1 dishonor.
Trying to interpret the thievery.
Yes, I very much am. I very much am, because I could very much go both ways on that one.
I fell ass backwards into good graces there.
I will say this. You gave them all of the kind of the trinket jewelry and the coins, right?
Yes, the only thing I kept out of the encounter was the mace.
Very fair. I am going to give just Armand +1 dishonor.
Armand's at Even, finally. Back
So,
to
yeah.
0.
Yeah. So, yep. So, So everyone should get -2 total, except for Armand, who gets -1 total. All right. That's it for our show today. I want to thank you all so much for watching. And remember, we're going to be back very, very soon for another adventure as our heroes venture closer to their meeting with
The Green Knight.